Hello, hello. This is Christina Barney watching Black Tea News. Hello, hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barn. Today we will be talking about this video that I saw. I think it was I think maybe Saturday. I don't know if she posted it on Saturday, but Lizzo posted a video talking about the truth about celebrities and things that people don't understand. And so she it started off kind of interesting, and then she sprinkled some politics and other things in it that just warrants me ragging on his opinions that she had, and this truth about why celebrities can't do all these things that people think that they should do. Which, if people make money, that's really their business, I suppose, what they do with their money. But then she let it be known like what she likes to spend her money on as far as helping the world. And it's just very interesting. Plus she threw in some things about TikTok and how people criticize a president, yet so she's defending him while criticizing Congress, as if the things that Congress passes can happen without Joe Biden signing, you know, things. So we got to talk about that. Also, I'm gonna mention some other things like that side of that man outside of the Trump's trial, because I didn't mention on Friday. My sister's like, "You got to talk about it. Are you going to talk about it?" I don't have a lot to say about it, but I will talk about it. And I also want to share this video um that a online influencer made about the red pill community, because there's some sentiments in there that I agree with. There's been some protesting and some pretty crazy anti-Semitism at some college campuses, but I want to touch on that story more tomorrow. So um, there, a lot of these folks are seem like the most entitled kids out there. One of them, um, there's a story about one of them. I think the New York Post maybe did a detail on some of these kids, and one of them actually killed two elderly people in a car accident, and only one, and I believe on going like opposite traffic, um and only got a ticket that was like $220. And the last ticket I paid, I was holding my phone. I wasn't texting. I was holding my phone, and I had to pay 250 something dollars. So I'm so, like, how does that happen? How does that happen? So anyway, we're gonna touch on that more tomorrow, that story tomorrow. So have something to look forward to. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it. Hello, how are you doing in the comments? I hope you guys had a good weekend. We had a good weekend as always. You guys know I spend my weekends in church and with family and so on. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. I did a lot of writing. I'm almost done with a new book, so I'm very excited. Hopefully, I'll be able to knock it out tonight. I have like 2 big fight scenes to write, so I'm so excited, so excited. Also, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktunes.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation to blacktunes.com. It costs a stream, running website, all the stuff so you guys can support. I do appreciate you. You guys can give stars if you're on Facebook. You guys can do super chats if you're on YouTube, or you guys can do super thanks if you're watching back later. Check out different merch that we have available at the store. And if you guys are interested in any of my books, you guys can also go to the merchandise page, and you guys can see there's a banner at the top. It'll take my book website where you can learn some more information about my stuff that I write. Also want to put out to you guys that my youngest sister, she actually designed the book cover for me, or at least did the art for my book, Of Course God Is Blatantly Against Abortion. So she painted this hand, well, she drew the hand digitally, No. First she drew it like a in pencil, and then she put it in the computer and like made it look kind of like an oil painting and stuff like that. But anyway, she's the one who did the art for my cover. Of course, God is blatantly against abortion. So she has her own website, Tina's Text Portraits.com, and she does text portraits. But a text portrait is an image where she might make a landscape, or one time she did like a wedding couple, and or she has lots of prints of different celebrities and political like she has a Jesus where it's the scripture John 3:16, and she does it by hand. She makes it with pins and Sharpies. So it's not, some other people do like text portrait art and they do it with a computer. She actually does it by hand. They take anywhere from 8 to 40 hours to make, depending on how detailed they are. So she has some wonderful art on her website. She also has different paintings of all different sizes, but a lot of people really like her teeny tiny mini paintings. And so you guys can check out her work, and you guys can use a promo code. It's Black Tea 15, I believe. I'll double check. I know I wrote it down on my on a post that I did. But until the end of the month, there is a special discount for my audience. So I recommend that you guys take advantage of that, because she has lots of neat lots of neat art, especially like the little teeny ones. People like to get them for gifts for folks, or there's one woman who always comes and sees her at Motor City Comic Con. She likes to redecorate her house a lot. And so she'll come and get new paintings for her to, in other what kind of colors that she's looking for her home. So it's Black Tea 15. Black Tea 15. As always, black like the color, tea like the drink, Black Tea 15. And again, it's Tina's Text Portraits.com. That's the website. So go ahead and Tina's in the chat. Tina is in the chat, at least the Facebook, the YouTube chat. But go ahead and check out her stuff, get some neat pictures and paintings, and she does commissions as well. Anyway, let's get on to the stories of the day. So I want to start off with this Lizzo video, which some of it is interesting. And some of it is silly. So we're going to watch it together. I am going to interrupt at different points of time. Okay. Here we go.
Opinion will you defend like this?
Celebrities do not have as much power as you guys think they do. Follow me, because I wasn't a celebrity and now I am, and I can see it for what it is. I saw a video where someone was like, can someone tell celebs that we don't need another beauty brand or whatever? We need y'all to build libraries like celebs did back in the day, like Rockefeller. A sentiment to which I wholeheartly agree.
So I just want to note, and just one in your minds, that it started off with her talking about, why don't you guys build libraries? And that's a good, thing, libraries, though people have to want to go read. You kind of have to rebuild a hunger in people to actually go and read. There's always people out there who want to do it, but like I mentioned to you guys one time that the school that we grew up in Pontiac, they ended up giving my sister like a ton of like Shakespeare books, because she was the only one, the only person who was checking them out. So we were just kind of baffled that, like, it's Shakespeare and no one is interested in picking those up. So I think there's so much to do, and for communities other than simply like building a library. But I'll get to more commentary on that. But just again, remember she brought up, people said, why don't celebrities do things like build libraries? We don't need you to do a beauty, brand or something, make a new hot lipstick or other stuff like that, which a lot of celebrities do things like that because that's a product that they're involved in, makeup, and people can see them promote things like that all the time. Jessica Alba got into a lot of like different products that were um good for, because she was interested in having more organic or clean things for her family. So she started her Honest brand and she got super rich. But not every celebrity is a big sort of business mogul that's going to come up with some kind of great plan to save civilization. Sometimes it's like, oh, somebody pitches like, hey, would you like a lipstick line? And they're like, sure, let's come up with some ideas. This looks great on me. I could talk about it on TikTok, or I could talk about it in a magazine, and we'll sell some stuff, easy peasy. So, that's why I think a lot of people gear toward beauty, because it's easy. Not all, just because people are famous and has a lot of money doesn't mean that they're great at putting all their feelers out in all these kind of directions. Not everybody is a a Wahlberg or something. Not everybody's gonna make a Wahlburger or something like that.
However, Rockefeller was not merely a celeb of his day. Rockefeller was a tycoon. Rockefeller owned more wealth in America than anybody. Rockefeller was more a politician and involved in government, in controlling the country, than a celeb of his day. Celebs of the day were more like Ella Fitzgerald, popular jazz singer who couldn't even perform in the same clubs that Rockefeller could go to because she was
Uh-oh.
What opinion will you
couldn't even perform in the same clubs that Rockefeller could go to because she was.
Uh-oh. Let me see. Don't know why that stopped. Let me go to the actual YouTube. I mean the actual TikTok and pull that up. Sorry for the situation there. Uh Okie dokie. Sorry about that. Let me share the screen from TikTok. And I'll start just over from the beginning.
what opinion will you defend like this?
Celebrities do not have as much power as you guys think they do. Follow me because I wasn't a celebrity and now I am, and I can see it for what it is. I saw a video where someone was like, can someone tell celebs that we don't need another beauty brand or whatever? We need y'all to build libraries like celebs did back in the day, like Rockefeller. A sentiment to which I wholeheartedly agree. However, Rockefeller was not merely a celeb of his day. Rockefeller was a tycoon. Rockefeller owned more wealth in America than anybody. Rockefeller was more a politician and involved in government, in controlling the country, than a celeb of his day. Celebs of the day were more like Ella Fitzgerald, popular jazz singer who couldn't even perform in the same clubs that Rockefeller could go to because she was Black. I say all that to say celebrity and fame does not equate wealth and power. It can, but it doesn't typically. Most famous people are in debt with the studios or the labels. Most celebrities are going off of a credit system they have when they sign deals. Most celebrities won't even get the opportunity to have generational wealth because that money is comes and goes, or they're in the red their entire career. And especially when celebrities try to do good for the world, especially the Black celebrities, we see what happens to them. I mean, I gave $250,000 to Black trans grassroots organizations that help the LGBTQIA plus community, and nobody even knew. That's because celebrities are here for y'all's entertainment. When we do things that are good for the planet, nobody notices it.
So she's gonna say more, but I want to stop right there for a second. Um, I do want to add what was interesting about this video is she's correct that there are celebrities that will be indebted to the studio or record labels and so on, and they'll have to, they'll put so much in an album. You have to do a couple different albums to really, be making the money or whatever, have, different kind of successes, and not everyone is going to have uber kind of stupid money that a lot of different celebrities will have. It is a skill to be able to take your money and to not just retain it, but to keep growing it. And there are some celebrities that can do that and have done that. Like I mentioned Jessica Alba, I mentioned the Wahlbergs. But celebrities today, though many of them won't see Uber, maybe crazy stupid money, there's definitely more opportunities and ways to market yourself, especially with the social media, than I would say past celebrities had, that she's mentioning, like Ella Fitzgerald and so on. So we live in a different age where there's so many different opportunities to make money, including on an app like TikTok, where she could, be making a crap ton of money just from posting her own content for a few minutes, or a minute and 1 second. And then TikTok will pay out a lot of money probably to her if she has her account set up that kind of way. And people make livelihoods who are not celebrities off of such kind of apps. So there's lots of ways to make money. But there are definitely celebrities who get involved in politics and hobnob with politicians, and politicians really like to hobnob with celebrities. They like the feel of it. They like they like being celebrities themselves, so that's why they'll hang around, each other. And that was something people did back in the day. But people are also making different deals with celebrities. Isaiah Washington, I think it's Isaiah. Is it Isaiah or is it Isaac? He's a celebrity who was on I know him from the 100. Yeah, it's Isaiah Washington. What else was he in? I think he's like stopped acting though, but I saw he was on a podcast. He's on Grey's Anatomy. He's in Romeo Must Die. He played how long was Jaha on it? He's probably on the 100 for 3-4 seasons. Using God's Not Dead. I don't remember him there. But Hurricane season well, a couple different things. Anyway, he was mentioning how he left the Democrat Party or whatever, and he was on a podcast with some kind of commentator on the right talking about different things, and he mentioned how another celebrity or was on him because he's like, man, we got all this stuff lined up with the Democrats, and you're trying to mess that up with Trump, getting in office and stuff. So there are celebrities that are doing all kinds of stuff with politicians and trying to line up their pockets the same way other people with money lobby to make all kinds of deals with politicians. So celebs will find a way to make money. Not all of them have the skill and the knowledge and take advantage of their connections to make buku kind of money, but they certainly can. Now, back to this making a difference. At the beginning of the video, you will recall that she mentioned that people like, oh, celebrities, why aren't y'all building schools? Why aren't you, oh, not schools, but how come you guys aren't building libraries? And I just want to be on the record saying that Lizzo can do whatever the heck she wants with her money. She doesn't have to give a single dime to anyone if she doesn't want to. She wants to spend it all on dresses and shoes and houses and hoagies, whatever she wants to spend it on, whatever she wants to spend her money on, gold flutes and diamond flutes, whatever she wants to spend her money on, she's entitled to do that. She's made her money. Okay. She can spend it however which way. But I thought it was interesting that she started off combating this idea of people criticizing celebrities for not building libraries for children. And then she starts to explain why celebrities don't have that kind of capital, why celebrities don't have that kind of power. And then she gets to the point where she's like, they don't even, really, when black, celebrities try to do stuff, they don't even give them really credit. I gave, $250,000 to LGBT organizations plus IQ, whatever numbers, because she like used the long acronym or whatever. And nobody knows, nobody cares, which there are articles about it. So I don't know how nobody doesn't know or nobody doesn't care, because you can find people on Twitter talking about it, or X, and there's articles about it, her giving money to these organizations. But I just thought it was interesting that, and maybe she has given to libraries, maybe she has given to the school children, maybe she has given to, I don't know, mothers who are struggling, single moms trying to put their kids in a better school, maybe a private school or something, and they need that extra dime. And here comes Lizzo in to save the day. Maybe she has, but the thing that she decided to highlight was the LGBT stuff. So people are asking, why aren't you building libraries? And you're like, yeah, but I gave to the gays. It's so bizarre to me. So and so, I looked up one of the organizations that I know she at least gave $50K to, and they have different scholarship programs where you work with artists to do some kind of exhibit or something, or they started, different stuff in their organization to combat the special kind of violence against Black trans people, which there isn't really an epidemic of violence against trans people at all, not even trans Black people. And I know that's something that's repeated by the left, but the truth is that a lot of these organizations will prop in all these numbers together, and they'll include deaths that had nothing, like people will think like, oh my gosh, these people are being attacked because they're trans, but it might just be like a domestic dispute between lovers, or it could be like someone is involved in some kind of sex work, which is pretty dangerous work. And they'll just include all these kinds of things, but it's not like there's a tranny, they're gonna go kill him. It's not stuff like that. Imagine if someone said there's an epidemic of fat people being murdered, and they just took all these instances that had nothing to do with people being targeted for their weight, and they put out another. It'd probably be astronomical, and then you could raise all kinds of money for it, I guess. Or people would say, okay, well that actually doesn't make no one's targeting because you're fat, but no one is doing that. Not no one is doing that, but it's not what they're pushing. It's not what they're portraying. So Lizzo wants to do things to save the world, and like stopping the laws from being passed about who can go in what bathroom, trying to make sure that people, that the children get hormones to stop their puberty, the same stuff that they give to sterilize pedos in prison. Like, What is all this money going towards? Because again, maybe she's using the money for sometimes for other sorts of stuff, but the thing that she wanted to highlight about making the world a better place is the stuff for the LGBT organizations rather than her pooling her money with other celebrities and saying, hey, let's build a library. Why? Someone else can build the library, and then I guess she can give the money to the LGBT organization so they can send a tranny in there for drag time story hour or something like that. So my issue here with the celebrities is that so many of them, there's plenty of celebrities that do really good work. You know, Mark Wahlberg does stuff for, veterans. You see Gary Sinise doing stuff for veterans and has been for years, for so long. And I used to love, watching things like Celebrity Apprentice because you would see, all this work that all these people are doing, and it would raise, really good awareness for different stuff. But you could really do something that's going to help the world. I think the stuff that Lizzo is probably contributing to is probably damaging the world. It's probably damaging the world, not making it better. But it's virtue. She buys some virtue given to those groups. And she didn't have to say a darn word about where she spends her money. But she brought it up. She brought it up. She brought it up. So let's see what else she says. Oh, someone also pointed out, Debbie here, lots of people, regardless of race, don't have generational wealth. Yeah, that's true. You got to know how to take your money and to make it grow and leave something. And people should generally try to leave something moving forward, but there's quite a few celebrities that are like, I'm getting it in my foot in a bunch of different things. I'm making investments and trying to figure out how to build generational wealth, getting my children into building their own generational wealth and have that real, entrepreneurial spirit. But not everybody, just because they may be talented, has that kind of drive or may have any good sense with money like that. They may be the type of person who will not know how to say no. They'll give too much to their family. They'll give too much to their friends and end up super broke by the end of it and not have anything to really leave for their kids. So just because you're talented enough to make money doesn't mean that you're going to be wise enough to keep it. But let's keep listening.
And to be honest, that's not why I do the charitable things that I do. I do it to actually help people. So that's neither here nor there. But I just see celebrities getting blamed for every single problem in the world when they don't have control or the power to change or stop that. It kind of reminds me how we get angry at the president when really we need to be mad at Congress and we need to be mad at our local governments and we need to get upset with the Supreme Court. And the president is kind of like the person who stands in front and takes all the blame for 4 years and then 4 to 8 years, and then they're in and out, and then it's another person, but it's the same regime underneath. Just saying, the real people in power and the real people who can actually make a difference in this world know that they can, and they choose not to because it benefits them. I'm sure if the Ella Fitzgerald of the day could build libraries in her name and could help her people, she would. Just as the Ella Fitzgerald of today feels that way.
Oh, just so you know, people pointed out in her comments that Dolly Parton has a library. Dolly Parton is someone who has been around for a long time, obviously, but really gives back to the community and so on with different charities. So yeah, there are people out there who can and do build libraries. And this seems really silly to me though, because if you have all these like celebrities that have all this access to capital, their own capital, and can make all the investments, how come if black entrepreneurs pretty fresh out of like, slavery and Jim Crow and all those sorts of things can pull money together to build schools and uh all sorts of stuff for black communities? How come, y'all can't pull something for a school? And I'm not a school, but a library. And I'm not even saying the library is the way to go necessarily. You could just like help, small businesses, like go to a block, like find a couple of really nice black businesses that have a plan, and and you could, if you don't want to take, make a deal or whatever and be an investor, just give a little something so they can get on their feet and really push their dream forward. Or like I said before, help that single mom, or they don't have to be a single mom, just, or help the family put their kid in a better school, in a better community. If, especially if they live in a state like mine that really doesn't want to have school choice and other things like that, and help kids who really want to achieve better but maybe don't have those resources, and help them. But it's like, I want to help the world and do all that, so that's why I gave all this money to the LGBTQIA plus organization. Then, and that's, I guess, not enough to build a library, but are you alone? You can't be like, I'm gonna put up this amount of money, or I'm gonna match what my fans give, or something like that. Something like that. But you people pick things that are virtuous, and they're signaling or whatever. Like 2020, there's so many people giving to Black Lives Matter, didn't know where the money was going to, which a lot of it actually went to like trans stuff and not actually pro black things. um or maybe it was like pro black trans stuff, but not really enough focused on real kind of reform to help communities or something like that. But I always knew BLM was trash, because when they first kind of started their website and their organization, I remember going on their site and reading about them, and they made it very clear that they were prioritizing trans women above all else. Like that was their forefront of their focus, because they felt that they were victims more than everyone else. So they needed to focus so much of themselves on that demographic. But I'm like, what does that got to do with police? What do they got to do? Like one time, my sister had a friend who went to a BLM meeting or something, and they said they didn't even talk about police brutality stuff. They only talked about gay stuff the whole time. The whole time. So there's a lot of people who gave to them, didn't know where the money was going from to, and so I would see people giving, or I would see people hashtagging, and I would say like, this is a trash group, do not support them. And like, well, what do you want us to do? I'm like, oh, actually doing something is going to take some time. A lot of people like to give money here, give money there, and then they feel good, and then they can walk away saying, well, I tried, I did my darndest, I participated, I'm a good person here. The actual answers that I would give to people, I'm like, well, you could start by maybe finding some libertarian leaning kind of Republicans and going to those kinds of meetings, because those people actually know the laws, and they they want limited government, and they don't like the police having too much power, and they do want accountability, and they can work and actually have, like I said, libertarian leaning Republicans, and not actually just libertarians, because libertarians don't have much power, but politically, and they can try to get different legislation passed. But do you guys recall after maybe it was the RNC convention in 2020, when Rand Paul was coming outside and the BLM people surrounded him? And I'm like, this dude tried to pass something in honor of Breonna Taylor for no knock warrants and all that stuff, and they came around him. This is the one person who you guys shouldn't be attacking, and here you are acting a fool, because it was about outrage and revolution and pandering. and virtue signaling, but not actually doing things to actually save Black lives. But to what she said about the president, though, she said you need to be mad at the local people. People do need to care more about local government. That is correct, Lizzo. That's true. People do need to be looking at Congress and be upset about their Congress people. That is absolutely true. Absolutely. And it's very hard to get an incumbent out that's been there a couple times. You got to have a really engaged population to get out someone who's been there for a minute and raise up a good primary challenge to somebody who should be gone. So yeah, people should know about what's going on in Congress. But why the heck do you get to just give the president of the United States a pass? Because what can Congress do if the president doesn't sign his name to the bill? What can Congress do? What kind of bills can they pass? What kind of budgets can they pass if the president just vetoes stuff they don't like? You cannot just shrug your shoulder and say, oh, the president, he takes all the stuff for 4 years and he's not really in charge. First of all, there's so much stuff that people can push through with just pure bureaucracy of how big their administration is and do executive orders. And then Joe Biden, she's like, be mad at the Supreme Court. Joe Biden doesn't care about the Supreme Court. He cares when he can, when they rule against him and he can, and talk politics like, oh, this outrageous Supreme Court, and get people like her, whoever, upset. But then he's also bragging like the Supreme Court tried to stop me with student loans. I'm going to do it anyway. So he knows he's basically a rogue actor who doesn't respect the branches of government, the co-equal branches. And he'll try to push whatever kind of thing, whatever he wants to do. Thank God for the Supreme Court. He was pushing that terrible edict for the OSHA requirements for the vaccine mandates for work. Oh my gosh. Thank God for the Supreme Court stopping the president that you don't think has any power and people just blame. Why does Biden get a pass? And did she feel that way about Trump? Did she feel like everybody complaining and being mad at Trump for 4 years wasn't legit and we should have just been mad at Congress when Trump signed something that she didn't like, or what? Like, it's never the president's fault. We should be mad at everybody else but them. Everybody else but them. That's crazy, Lizzo.
Rockefeller built many monuments in his name in his day. And I'm sure the Rockefeller of today would do that as well. But guess who the Rockefeller of today is? Rockefeller. The Rockefeller family. Because of generational wealth. They never left. By the way, Congress just voted to ban TikTok and simultaneously fund war. So let's learn their names.
What about Joe Biden? What about Joe Biden? Because guess what, Lizzo? He could veto it. Boop, 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 boop. But he wants more money to be sent to Ukraine. He does. He is probably going to sign, for the money in Israel, all that stuff getting passed in a bipartisan fashion. But the TikTok stuff, it wouldn't be going anywhere if there was an indication that it was going to be dead and Biden wasn't going to pass it, which Trump, said something about, Biden being the one who's going to ban TikTok. Trump was for banning TikTok before, and now he's not. And some people suspect it has something to do with some donors and other stuff like that. Perhaps that is the case, but it can't happen without his signature, Lizzo. So why aren't we holding Joe Biden accountable? Why learn all their names and then just pretend like he ain't a man in charge? So this is very strange to me. But I guess Congress is a bigger target, so you can sound like you are doing something and saying something to your fans and whatnot. And if you get too personal and say, hey, Joe Biden, if you sign that TikTok bill, we're done with you. Which it's funny that he's like so trying to straddle the fence with um Dearborn voters and stuff over like Israel and other stuff like that. So he's not maybe being as supportive of Israel as the US I suppose normally is, and he's trying to straddle the fence a bit. But I would think the one what's really going to hurt him electorally would be if he banned TikTok. And there's lots of people who still push for it and are okay with it being gone, and especially folks who aren't on it. But it is a huge app that a lot of people are on and using it for entertainment. But there are a lot of people who are getting paid for using the app when they post different videos and they do well. Uh, when they do this TikTok shop stuff and someone buys something because you posted it and you can make a little commission off of it. Like there was a viral brush that untangles hair very well. My sister actually bought that for her kids and they say that's a brush that doesn't hurt. So it's called the Unbrush. So people get money all kinds of different ways on TikTok. So if they pass that ban and let's say they don't force a sell of TikTok and TikTok is just gone because US is a big share of their market that I would assume is pretty important, especially for maybe their TikTok shop stuff. Because there's some place in the world they don't have like all the same features that they do in the US. But if all of a sudden a lot of people lose their money and income off of TikTok, that is gonna it's gonna be pretty, that's the thing that I would assume is gonna be worse for Joe than pretty much most issues. I mean, the border is probably still number one. I think him being like totally incompetent to the world stage as far as war is obviously not good for him. But the TikTok, it's gonna be probably a bloodbath if he signs that. So I don't know. I guess I'm curious about all the levers of power with people pushing one way or another with this, because it is kind of hard for me to believe that with it being such a risk to him that he'd be willing to sign it unless there was some kind of blatant good reason that he would benefit from for forcing them to sell it, if they can actually get them to sell it. I don't know. Because I hardly the security issues that people have with it is legit, but people continuously mentioning that hasn't made people less inclined to use it. So I guess you kind of have to as people should give I guess a convincing argument for people to just not use it. But most people probably feel like, well, everybody's spying on me anyway, so what do I care? Maybe. So the only way they're probably getting a mass amount of people to not use TikTok is to either make something better than TikTok or to force the sale. So we'll see what happens there. But I just can't believe that she brought that up after she just basically absolved Biden of blame. Nope, doesn't work like that. Anyway, at Trump's trial, which there's a ton of press there, there's Secret Service there, because they know obviously former president of the United States is there. It's a pretty big deal. There was a man there, and I'm not going to show any pictures. I'm not going to show any video. If you didn't see it, you didn't see it. And I thought about talking about this or mentioning it on Friday, but this slipped my mind. But a man lit himself on fire Fox like showed it for a bit, and CNN described it in detail, and it was very strange. And someone did this not too long ago. I think it was around my sister's birthday because I think I had some time off and I didn't really talk too much about it. And I didn't really want to say too much about it either, but there were people who were I think that was like right in front of the White House, someone lit themselves on fire. And they were protesting against war. And people were having all these hot takes as if this person who did it did a moral good thing, when the truth is that these people are terribly mentally ill, and we need to scold this kind of stuff and not make, I mean, they're mentally ill, absolutely, and it's sad and it's sick, and there's too many people who go down these deep dark rabbit holes of politics to feed their own sort of paranoia on stuff. And I'm not saying there's not conspiracies and there's not some dark things if you go down the rabbit hole, but there's some people who are just like, again, not well, and they feed too much into these things and become obsessed with things that they can't necessarily control, instead of looking inwardly at their own lives and setting different things in order. Like Jordan Peterson will go on different panels and they'll talk about climate change. And he's just kind of like, there's so many things you cannot control about like a degree going up or the weather. But what you guys can do, you can clean your room, and people don't want to focus on the micro things they can do in their lives, and they're obsessed with uh again things that they can't change, and it just becomes so overwhelming and so burdensome to the point where they're doing dumb activism, or it gets to the point where maybe they're doing dangerous sort of activism. Like so many these kids on these college campuses and on Twitter, and people bullying folks about different causes with Palestine. And look, one person who had a pretty big following or whatever, she ended up like deleting her content and like was like, I had to take a break. And the folks are just demanding that people say something and dip into the politics. And like, not everybody needs to do that, because most people probably don't need to do that, because on TikTok especially, a lot of people sound idiotic and people spread false information and inspire wackadoodles, all the time. And people need to, I don't know, go back to watching cat videos or something and clean the room. Just get things in their lives in order. Make some changes in yourself. But they want to reach for this goal that seems massive and feel like they're doing something important rather than doing the hard work, like the BLM stuff. It's easy to give that money. We're fighting for Black lives. How, but what can you like tangibly do? Like learn the issues, go learn the laws, empower other people to know the laws, change legislate, like, do things that you can actually set your hands to. That'll make you less crazy. It'll make you less crazy. Setting your life in order, having tangible goals, completing them. So these people felt like they could do something, start revolution by setting themselves on fire or stop from people from sending money. They just passed a bill, so they certainly, you going up in flames didn't change anything, bud. It's stupid. And we can say they're sick. They are sick. But I think a healthy dose of shame can go a long way with some of these weirdos. So they're not inspired to continue doing this time and time and time again. You got to be really sick in the head to think lighting yourself on fire is the way to go. But beyond being sick, you're a loser. because you didn't want to stick around long enough to actually make a positive difference in the world. And no, setting yourself on fire is not going to set any kind of positive change in motion. So, anyway, it seems like they scrubbed a lot of stuff. I know you could probably still find it, but it was all over my feed on last week. The images of the Burning Man. People were saying he was right wing, but I saw a couple accounts making the claim, but the one from last week, but his manifesto, which I don't think people should really obsess with that kind of stuff when people do this kind of stuff or shootings, because people want that kind of infamy, and I don't think we should give it to him. So that's about all I got to say about it. So I want to share this video from Sydney Watson about the red pill movement, because I think she's correct here in some of her assessments, and she's mirroring some things that I've said, but she puts it pretty well. And if you're like, what's the red pill movement? That's like some of those people like Pearl and Pearl Davis and Fresh Fit Dudes and Andrew Tate, that are like hyper masculine, but it seems like it's the opposite of I don't even know if it's the opposite. It's just like a different. It's just this different side of the same coin with feminism. Basically, I think with these red pill dudes, and they promote a degeneracy in society the same way that a lot of the feminists did, and not all feminists are like male haters, and I'm not saying all these people are women haters, but there is a lot of women hating in this sort of sphere. So anyway, I want to share this video.
I absolutely hate the red pill movement. And as time has gone on and this movement has grown in size and in popularity, what is becoming more and more clear to me is that predatory people, predatory leaders at the top of this movement are taking advantage of the fact that there's a lot of really, really lost men in society who do require direction, who do require role models, who do require some assistance when it comes to courting the opposite sex and having happy, healthy relationships with the opposite sex. But what they're instead getting is unfiltered anti-female rhetoric. And there is absolutely no way that that is going to have a net societal benefit. No way. And the irony is that the leaders of these ideological groups will say things like, oh, women are scum-sucking road whores who are going to take all of your money and suck all of your wealth. They're all gold diggers who are going to take your future gold from you, while simultaneously asking you for money and asking you to buy their books and their programs and sign up to their courses that they know have no tangible real-world benefits for you. They are the gold diggers. And instead of seeing this for what it is, people continue to engage with this terrible group of people, this terrible ideology that will ultimately keep you in a victimhood loop and ultimately mean that you will end up alone.
So I think she's correct here. And specifically, one person you could name who fits that pretty well is Andrew Tate. He has different is it Pimp Academy or is it something else? I don't think it's like Man Whore Academy, whatever it's called. But where people could pay for different courses and learn things from instructors that are very surface level stuff, and things that aren't really tangible to people's lives. But hey, he seems like he's very rich and got a lot of good things going for him, and he does have money. But Ben Shapiro came at him I think it was last week, and did a pretty detailed video about how he's not doesn't have as much as he likes to pretend, or like as much as he would like to show off to people. So but the illusion, he's selling that illusion, so these dudes want to buy in, and they literally will pay. And some of these folks are taking advantage of him. And I guess it's nothing new. People would have kinds of a lot of people have a kind of different way, like, I can help you make money, and all kinds of different internet programs and so on. But I suppose the relevant question is it going to help you? Can it help you? And so on. But so, part of like Tate's grift though is that he builds an army of people just resharing his content to continuously make it, pretty viral. So they recruit people to build up the brand of Andrew Tate, while knowing that he's a pretty despicable pimp. So I I just want everybody to be kind of careful of a lot of these influencers out there and commentators and so on. And you have to really analyze what people are saying, and seek out the truth for yourself. But um Tucker Carlson, for example, this is kind of moving to a different topic that I just want to mention really quickly. Um he's had some interesting clips that were going around after his conversation on the Joe Rogan's podcast, but had a lot of interesting clips as of late. He's been picking fights with Ben Shapiro and other folks, and I would assume to, um, I guess, appeal to the Daily Wire haters, and um, try to elevate himself on the social media X platform and other stuff. Like he said, Ben Shapiro hates America or can't love America because he was spending so much time talking about Israel. He's like, well, what about the border and other things like that? And if you're spending so much time, focused on something that's not even here in America, then you must hate your country. And I'm paraphrasing, but I watch Ben mostly every day, pretty much. And he talked obviously a lot about Israel, especially when in the first month of like October 7th happening. But he talks all about the border a lot. They talk about the border a lot and other, domestic issues a lot. But then Tucker went to other countries and was interviewing people in other countries, and he went to Russia and had that weird Russian propaganda at the grocery store, and like, look, they have carts so that you have to return. I'm like, okay, yeah. We have some of those stores in America where you have to you pay and you put the quarter in, and you get your quarter back when you return the cart. I don't know if there's any other stores that do that besides Aldi. Aldi is a German company, I believe. But the point is, like, Russia's not so amazing because you can put a quarter in a grocery cart. But anyway, I've been noticing some things about Tucker, and I'll have to write a post about this. But when he interviewed the guy who allegedly slept with Barack Obama, who's been telling the story for years, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but when he introduced him, he said he even took a lie detector test. And it's true, he did take a lie detector test. But what Tucker did not inform his audience of is that he did not pass the lie detector test. Now, just because you fail a lie detector test doesn't necessarily mean that 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 the lie detector test exactly got it right, and we can just like throw out everything that you're saying. But I thought it was interesting to mention that he took the lie detector test to build his credibility, but didn't offer the balance of the fact that he didn't pass the lie detector test, so his audience could take what he was saying with maybe a grain of salt. And then in the interview itself, Tucker just let him talk and let him explain his story, but he didn't really push back against anything. So I'm like, I used to watch Tucker when he first had his show on Fox, like every night. Like I was really into it. And even if I wasn't home, I DVR'd it so I could come home and watch Tucker. And he would have someone on the show, and usually it was like some kind of liberal who was like really ridiculous, and he'd ask a couple questions and he'd make the Tucker face of bewilderment and laugh a bit, and the person he'd bring on would look so stupid and so crazy. And it was like, you know, it was like clickbait sort of entertainment on Fox prime time. And I was into it, and I was into it a lot. But then eventually I'm like, okay, the shtick is getting kind of old. And then I, wasn't into Tucker so much. And it wasn't DVR must see TV anymore. But but anyway, I mentioned that to say he pushed back more on these silly guests that he would bring on, I guess, for him to berate and us to laugh at, than he did against Andrew Tate, or against the guy who claimed that he slept with the former president and did drugs with him. So there was no sort of intellectual curiosity with Tucker anymore, and it just seemed like it was tabloid kind of stuff. So, and that's fine if you just kind of want to do tabloidy interview kind of stuff things, but people know you from being a journalist, and there's a lot of people out there who trust you. And if you're going to put something out there that they're like, well, he's thought about this, or he's investigated, or it's true, and you just got to be careful. I mean, my sister mentioned something to me about something being on Fox News. Like, it must be true, it's on Fox News. And I made a face, and she's like, or maybe not. And I'm like, Fox News is why I shared an image of Fonnie Willis in a backwards dress. Okay. But the dress wasn't backwards. But I'm like, after that, I was like, okay, you got to be just really careful. Because so many people are so quick for the click. And I did figure, I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure they probably looked into this, and this dress is probably on backwards if they made a post about it. Wrong. Wrong. So anyway, I'm just encouraging everybody to be pretty careful and to guard your heart and be mindful. I appreciate people tuning in to listen to me as I give my opinions. I'm not infallible though, but what Sydney was saying about, there's some people out there who are taking advantage of lonely men who do need some guidance, who do need some help, in the red pill kind of sphere. It's true for everywhere in politics on both sides of the aisle. And I'm really sort of disillusioned with a lot of fellow people on the right. And I just wanted to issue a warning to you guys, because I'm seeing a lot of things that are kind of disturbing to me. So I don't know if everyone's seeing things the same kind of way, but I'm just asking you to have your eyes open and be careful about what you consume and what you take in, and question not just the information that's out there, but sometimes you got to question the people who's given it as well. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. Please go to blackteennews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blackteennews.com/donate, because it does cost a stream. We run my website, all that stuff you guys can support. I appreciate it. You guys can check out different merch that's available, blackteennews.com, like different t-shirts, like we got some pro-life shirts. We got this cool Frederick Douglass shirts. The Constitution is a Glorious Liberty document. We got the You Are Not That Special shirt. And we also have that in a mug. So if you want to trigger somebody in your life or just put them in their place so they can know that, go ahead and pick that up. But also encourage you guys to check out some of my books that I've written as well. So I have 17 that are all together that are published. And so I'm very happy that that number will go up very soon. But you guys can find out more. If you go to blackteennews.com, there's a banner that'll take you to my book site. But there is a link in the description that'll take you to like an Amazon page that I have. So anyway, thank you guys. And I will see you on tomorrow. And we'll talk about some of this crazy college anti-Semitism and protesting and so on, and some of these kids who are mixed up in it, and like Ilhan Omar's daughter, and just all this kind of craziness going on. So anyway, God bless you.